Reshma will probably be freaking out right now. Yes. Anyway, once again, everybody, my name is Kim Pong, and I run a company called Strength Asia. And what Strength Asia does is that at the very core of our work, we help organizations and people build cultures of engagement here. By that, what we mean is how do we get leaders, how do we get organizations, how do we get managers and executives to be more vested in the work that they're doing, to be more, influential and impactful, and to, derive greater satisfaction and energy in the things that they do. Today is really the second series of talks that we have been organized since, COVID, about 2 months ago. For this series here, we are talking about the new normal that has been created as a result of what COVID-19 is doing, to the rest of the world here. So today, welcome everybody, and for those that are joining us for the first time, we would love you as you're listening to me, to put your comments in the chat box for Zoom, so that we know that you are here. Say hello to us in the chat box. If there are any questions, go ahead and put the questions in the chat box here. And for those of us that have just joined us on Facebook Live, I think we are on Facebook Live. Are we on right now, guys? Let's see. Let me just double check to make sure that we are actually indeed live here. I think we are. Yes, we are. So for those of us that are just joining us on Facebook Live here, please, go ahead and, make your presence known in the comments. Say hello to us, so that we know you are here. And same thing, right? Any insights, any perspective, any questions, go ahead and plonk them, in the Facebook Live comments or in the Zoom chat box here. And my colleagues and I, they're going to interact with me to kind of help me know the questions and be able to answer you as and when we have to, right? So good. So let us get started here. So today, we are talking about the new normal. And what is that? The title today is the first talk in the second series for Strength Asia, and the talk is entitled Leadership Resilience here. Now, if you guys kind of see that this new normal is in a little bit of a mirror kind of image, it's intentional, right? Because this new normal, while it's new, it's normal, it is not exactly very comfortable. And that's the reason why I kind of flip it back. And some people say, hey, you made a mistake here. I didn't make a mistake. It's intentional, yeah? So leadership resilience here. Now, since World War II, our world has gone through a few recessions, and the recessions are caused by three major reasons. Number one, it is an economic policy mistake by certain countries, by certain policymakers. Or two, it's created by oil shocks, right? And number three, is created by financial crisis, financial bubbles here. But it's never been in any period in time where it is actually caused by something of a disease, of a pandemic, the COVID-19. What COVID-19 has done is unprecedented. It has caused a global societal pandemic shift in everything that we are doing. Now, the interesting thing here is this, right? Way before COVID-19, the world is already changing, right? I mean, we are already adopting to technology. The way we travel is more mobile. The way we meet is a lot more frequent and a lot more able because of low airfares and all that kind of stuff, right? So the world actually is evolving and changing because of the mobility of people, because of because of technology, changes in technology and all that, right? But what COVID-19 actually did is this, right? COVID-19 essentially, right, sped up everything. It put a supersonic, accelerator to everything that is changing. So instead of taking years for people to adopt to a new way of doing things, instead of taking years for people to adopt to new technology, what COVID-19 did, since this year, is that it has done what no other things can do. It accelerated things in a matter of days. It accelerated things in a matter of months. And that's why this is such an unusual period in time. It makes you and I so incredibly uncomfortable, right, with things that are happening here. Like, for example, when in Singapore, when we had this circuit breaker lockdown, I was one of those few people that was fighting tooth and nail, right, in saying, no, I do not want to work from home. I still want to be able to work in the office here, right? But yet, with the COVID-19, it doesn't wait it doesn't ask me for permission. In other words, it basically just say, hey, look, I'm coming in. You better get out of here. If not, you're going to get it, right? So it really is no respecter of men, of women, of status, of levels, of whoever. It just sped up everything here. Well, once again, everybody, and welcome to those people who have just joined us. Again, for those in Facebook Live, go ahead and put your comments and say hi to us. Any questions, go ahead and plug it in. For those in Zoom, go ahead, put it in your chat here. So the question here is this, right? How do we lead our businesses, in a crisis, such as, COVID-19? Now, this is unprecedented. So nobody really have any experience to tell you and I, say, hey, you got to do this and this and that and that to get this going, right? There's no experience. There's no precedence, right? So the question here is this: how do we lead? And how we lead, people in this situation when the market is dwindling, right, and cash flow is evaporating. How do we lead our people when the supply chains for our companies, for our customers, are massively disrupted? How are we leading? When the familiarity in the way we conduct business with each other, in the way we work with each other, is rapidly changing and being disrupted, right? It is really, really challenging. This is not a situation whereby there's one problem at a time. It's all problems at one time here. So the question here is this, right? What kind of leader do we need in a crisis such as this? I like to, quote a very famous leader back in World War II, and that is Winston Churchill. And I'm going to read off from my screen here. And Winston Churchill, at the peak of World War II, he said this: "To each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if the moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which could have been their finest moment." So my question to all of you out there who are leaders, who are leading teams, who are leading organizations, you have just received, that tap on the shoulder. You have just received a knock on the door at 2 a.m. in the morning, and you are expected to rise up and lead your people. Would you be caught unaware, unprepared, or would you be harnessing every unique talent, every unique strength, every unique experience that you have, so much so that this potentially could be your finest hour in your work life here? So right now, I'm going to ask everybody, right? Same thing, right? Anytime you want to do your Zoom chats or Facebook Live, go ahead and just plunk it in, right? Cool. Thank you very much. So question. So if you're a leader today, what kind of leader are you? Same question here, right? And the question is this, right? A leader today essentially is someone who take his own personal experiences, take his own talents that is unique to you, and lead people in ways that nobody else can lead. And you are the leader in this season of time, right? Where actually, to be honest, if you are someone that wants to control circumstances, you're going to be quite miserable about it, right? But if you are a leader that does not try to control, what you cannot control, but take what you have and do what you must and lead the way that only you can lead, then I think your people has a really good chance, of really coming together. And as a leader, you're focusing on what you do not have, but what you have, you're going to lead them. You're going to lead your people, to respond to this pandemic. You're going to lead your people, to restore the businesses. You're going to lead your people to eventually thrive in the future. And there's one thing that I know in this very special season that we all must have. There's this special ingredient, that we must have to hold everything together. And you've seen it over here. The ingredient here is resilience. It is resilience. Resilience is that one ingredient, right, that holds everything that we have as a leader together and focus us, so much so that we can lead in this finest moment of COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm really curious, everybody out there in Zoom as well as in Facebook Live, really curious, right? Tell me, in your own personal experience, what does resilience mean to you? So when I say, hey, a leader has resilience, an organization is resilient, a team is resilient, I would love to hear from you. What does that mean, right? So go ahead, take the next couple minutes or so, go ahead and put the your response into the chat box or into the comments. What is resilience? So I'd love to hear from you on this. And as you're doing that, I'm just going to scroll down and see what I can see here. Let me just give me a second here. Boom. And we are in. So I'd love to hear from you on this. And as you're doing that, just give me a second. I am actually having sound coming through my system here. Very cool. All right. So Janice Lam basically came in and tell us, resilience, it's being able to show up during challenging times. I love that. Resilience means able to show up during challenging times. Now, if there's any more, go ahead and plonk it in the chat box. I'm going to look at, so Cindy basically says this, right? And thank you, Cindy, for the comment. Resilience is forging ahead despite challenges ahead. I love this, right? Forging ahead despite challenges ahead. And Joey Gunn said this, right? Resilience is the inner strength to handle challenges. Love it. It's the inner strength to handle challenges. Elder Sherman Ong, and he said resilience is high adversity quotient, right? High AQ, not IQ, but high AQ here. Wonderful. I think Joey Palanzuela Cruz said that resilience is bouncing back from a bad situation. So I want to share with you, right? Thank you. Keep the comments coming, right? Because I'm learning as you guys are sharing here. There are three things that I think about, when I think about resilience. And Joey is absolutely spot on when she said about bouncing back, But the first thing here is right, resilience, right? It's about the ability to recover from our falls, from our stumbles here, right? That's one. The second thing here is, right, resilience is that ability to be able to bounce right back. It is not going to be down for long. You can be down, you can fail, but you're not going to be down for long. You're going to bounce right back. That's resilience. And the third thing about resilience, right, essentially is this. It is actually the perfect new skill to learn in this very imperfect new normal season here. Now, that is one skill, resilience, that you and I really want to invest into and learn in order to be able to lead our people here. I just saw some more comments coming in, and Eileen Chi says that resilience is dealing with the changes, right? Dealing with the changes. Cool. And KH Tan says it's the ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Absolutely spot on, KH. And Alex says it's calm when facing adversity. And Jeremiah Tan says resilience is finding new ways to get around the roadblocks. I love it. Keep it coming. And Johnny from Hong Kong says it's the tolerance, being optimistic, being able to bounce back. And Steve Lowe says never give up, never give up, never give up. And he quoted Winston Churchill for that. So resilience, three simple things. The ability to recover, the ability to bounce back, and it is a perfect new skill to learn in this imperfect new season of life here. All right, so let me just move on here. So the thing here is this, right? So how do we, how is a leader therefore is resilient? What does a resilient leader actually look like? Well, the way I look at the resilience of a leader, I look at him or her in five perspective here. Number one, the ability to respond, the ability to adapt, the ability to define purpose, the ability to invest into the business and to the people, and the ability to deploy their people, right? Respond, adapt, purpose, invest, and deploy here. So I'm going to take some time just to go through, every one of this here. So let me start with the first one, respond. Now, to respond is essentially this, right? Now, COVID-19, when I remember when, the circuit breaker came into Singapore, when I began to read the news all over the world, businesses were shutting down, and thousands of businesses are closed, millions of people lost their jobs. There was that element of fear that inadvertently just creep into everybody here. And I think our natural response is to fight it, is to fight in fear or to kind of overcome that fear, right? But the resilient leader, the hallmark of a resilient leader is that they do not want to respond to fear, but they want to respond to bring calm, to bring reason, to bring unity, and to bring hope to their employees here, right? So leaders are not going to be, they're going to be fearful. Yeah, we are humans, that's okay, but we are not going to respond to fear. But we're going to respond, by bringing calm, reason, unity, and hope to our employees here. And there are two traits about resilient leaders who respond well. Number one, they are deliberately calm. Number two, they have authentic confidence, right? They are deliberately calm and they have authentic confidence. Let me talk a little bit about being deliberately calm here. It simply means this, right? They are not going to let the stress of fear eat into their leadership. They're not going to let the stress of fear eat or influence or impact the way they're going to lead their people. Because a fearful leader will lead a fearful flock of people, isn't it? But a resilient leader is someone who actually looks at stress, right? The stress caused by fear, the uncertainties caused by fear, and he or she will channel that energy into helping their teams to learn and to innovate and to really become creative in whatever they are doing. That is a resilient leader who is deliberately calm. It is not that he's not acknowledging that there are problems out there, but it is that he or she decides, no, my intention is to be calm so that I can bring reason, unity, and hope to my people here. The second thing is being authentically confident here. Now, there are no fast and simple answers to really difficult and unfamiliar problems in in this COVID-19 days here. And leaders in this instance here, they know that, right? But the thing that every resilient leader must do is that they must really be transparent here. They must be able, to be transparently recognizing the severity of the problems imposed by the crisis. They have to have that ability to be able to share that with their teams here. And then together with that, they must show the confidence, they must show the resolve together with their team to find a way out, a way through this COVID-19 crisis. That's what I call authentic confidence. It is not fake confidence. It is not a confidence to say, oh, everything will be okay, everything will pass by. No, not everything is going to be okay, not everything is going to pass by, but acknowledge the severity of the problem and together with confidence, lead your people to solve and to resolve through this really, really incredible crisis. The second one that marks the hallmark of a leader is that they are adaptive, right? A resilient leader adapts. And when it's about adapting, right, the thing that I really want to say here is really this. It's really about, speed over elegance, and survival over form here. During this time here, there's really, really no time, for us to kind of worry about, does it look beautiful when we do this? Do we have to have a perfect solution before we do that? No, we got no time because the whole COVID situation that is impacting business is moving moving the dials, so fast, so unpredictably that the minute you miss that, right? So the whole idea here is really, to be able to have speed over elegance, survival over form here. Do what you need to do and get it done quickly so that you can move over and survive. And that, it reminds me of a great story. Back in the early 60s, right, when America and the Russians were racing each other to the moon, they were, creating many different things so that, their astronauts can use those things, when they're in the spacecraft in the lunar orbit, right? Now, the Americans spent millions of dollars inventing and designing a pen that can work under zero gravity, right? I mean, they say, look, we need a pen, but we need a pen that works in zero gravity, and they spent millions of dollars developing the pen. Well, guess what the Russians did? They were more adaptive than the American. They didn't spend millions of dollars trying to develop the pen. They used a pencil. So that's what it is. So easy, right? They just use a pencil and that's it. It's like elegance over speed over elegance, survival over form here. And I want to share another quick story with you, right? A Singapore-based polling company, when the COVID-19 hits them, they lost pretty much a lot of their businesses here, right? But one of the things that they did was that they were really, really smart. They asked themselves, okay, what is it I can do right now that I can adapt and really respond to the situation? Well, what they did was this, right? They created a poll and they sent out to many companies in Singapore and they made it free for them. Guess what? People came back and responded, and within 7 days, they managed to get 400,000 new databases here. And today, this one local company has become, let me just read this properly so that I know I'm saying the right thing. This local company here has become the largest data set on the state of workplace sentiment in Singapore, right? The adaptive move, I'm going to give it free for a certain part of my polling quotes here. You know, I'm going to share it with people, and when it came back in 7 days time, 400,000 database sets you know, sign up, and now they have the database set, right, of workplace sentiment here in Singapore here. So that is survival over elegance. And the last one here is focusing on what you have and not what you do not have. You know, I perfectly can understand, you know, the things that we have lost or the things that we do not have in order to do the things that we need to do. But hey guys, you know, this is COVID-19. Focus what you have, right? You still have your people, you still have your company, you still have cash flow, you still have clients, right? Focus on, you still have technology. Focus on all that and ask yourself, how can I pivot? How can I leverage from there? The next thing, you know, that a resilient leader has is purpose, right? Now, purpose is so important, you know, and this is something that I really want to ask the question here for everybody here, you know, what is the purpose of your business? If I ask you the question, what is the purpose of your business? You know, what would your answer be? So I would like to do a poll right now, and I'm gonna, and unfortunately this poll can only be seen on Zoom. So for those in Facebook, you will not be able to see this poll here. So I am going to launch this poll right now, and for those of you who are, you know, on Zoom, I would love you to answer, you know, the response here. And this poll is anonymous, so we wouldn't know who does it. And after that, I'm going to share the results with everybody here. So I'm launching the poll right now. And let's see. So the question here is, right, if you ask the question to your employees or colleagues, what is the purpose of our business? How confident are you that everyone will be able to give you that same answer, right? It's the same perfect answer, all right? So go ahead and plonk it in right now. Excellent. All right, coming in fast and furious. All right, keep it going. Yeah. Very cool. While you do that, let me play some poll music here. Is the music on? I can't hear it. It's on? All right, cool. I think we're done, right? Okay, I'm going to turn off the music right now. All right, cool. So I'm going to end the poll, and I'm going to share the result. Oh, there are more people coming in. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right, I'll end the poll right now. Let's go. I'll share the results. So the answer, to be honest, I'm really surprised, but the answer is this, right? Extremely confident, 30%. Some confidence that only some people will get it, 64%. No confidence at all, 9%. And actually, I mean, you think about it, right? I think the middle answer, 64%, is pretty much what it is. In a company, I think there's only a few people that really knows what the purpose is, where most of the other people may just be able to guess what the purpose is, right? And yet, in this COVID-19 time, you know, this idea of purpose, or this definition of purpose, is really important. Now, why is that? Well, very simple, right? The first reason is this, right? When people knows their purpose in the business, when people know their purpose in their business, purpose gives rise, you know, to reason and courage, right? It gives them the reason to dare to step in or step out. It gives them the courage to dare to engage or not engage, right? Purpose is very definitive. It allows people to be a little bit more courageous, to be a little bit more focused on what they want to do. The second thing about purpose is this: if an organization, if a leader, you know, takes the effort to help his or her team, you know, learn the purpose of the team, learn the purpose of the business, learn the purpose of the organization, that purpose becomes the lighthouse of hope here. Now, somebody said just now, it's like the light at the end of a very dark tunnel, right? And that lighthouse of hope is really critical, because it helps people make sense, make meaning of all the sacrifices, of all the hard work that they're doing right now, you know, in the midst of this whole COVID-19 days, right? So the purpose is really critical. And the last one here is this, right? When people knows what the purpose is, it gives meaning to everything that they do. So companies whose employees, you know, who knows their purpose. So if you say 64% right now, right? How do we raise it up to even higher? More than a few people in the company knows the purpose, but more than, you know, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%, right, of people knows the purpose. Your employees will tend to be more motivated and more engaged in finding meaning and doing the work well in the midst of a very, very difficult time here. All right. So the next thing here is a resilient leader is that they invest. They invest at a time when everybody is getting out. And I want to read you a little bit of a research here. Now, based on the Harvard Business Review, and they assess corporate performance for the last 3 recessions, and they found that out of 4,700 firms that were studied, those that cut costs the fastest and the deepest had the lowest probability of outperforming competitors after the economy recovered. My gosh, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? Now, so the group that is likely going to emerge from recession as winners are those that have struck the right balance between short-term survival and long-term investment. In other words, these guys here have a much higher probability to thrive in a new economy here. So the question for the resilient leader is this, right? Are you a short-term, reactionist on survivor, or are you able to look at long-term investment to ensure the survivability of your company, of your people here? The second, character trait of resilient leader who invest is this, right? Are you a shaper of the market, or are you a stagnator of the market? The COVID-19 scenario has really granted people the opportunity to define the new rules, to define the new game in the businesses that are in. Now, so this is a really, really important thing, right? Do you now invest into recruiting new people to do some really new, amazing things? Or do you begin to sack the very people that's been supporting you all this time? Or do you look at technology and say, hey, this is time to really acquire new know-how, new technology, new process, right? To be able to accentuate or build upon the processes to face up to a brand new market demand here. So are you a market shaper, or are you a market stagnator? And I think the last piece here is deploy. A resilient leader deploys, right? And let me just say this in context here. By the way, let me say this in context here. So the issue here is this. Leaders, you are not the only one that's carrying the load by yourself. You are a human being. You have limited resources. You have limited time. You have limited energy. You have a team of people that's looking to you for leadership here. And it is times like this, right? It is in times of crisis that superheroes are discovered. If you look at all the superhero movies, right, they always appear when there are troubles, or when there are, monsters, or when there are, or evil people, right? Superheroes are discovered in times of crisis here. Look to your team, look to your people, and ask yourself, who are these people, and how can I empower them to make decisions that I myself am struggling to make? You as a leader, take it from me, take it from many leaders I've spoken to. We are under tremendous stress, during this very season of time here. We are managing cash flow. We are managing business. We are managing clients. We are managing people. Lots of things on our shoulders here. So don't overburden yourself. Begin to open your hands and let go, and begin to identify your people, empower them. And to be honest, some of your folks are going to surprise you, because they do have skills that have never been manifested in normal times, but in a time such as this, right, it may be the perfect moment for them to be able to look beyond, what they are doing, to be able to look, above and bigger in everything that they are doing here. So let me just recap here. Now, if you have not noticed, that 5 traits of a resilient leader actually, is the acronym of RAPID, right? R-A-P-I-D, right? R stands for respond, A stands for adapt, P stands for purpose, I stands for invest, and D stands for deploy. So be a rapid, resilient leaders, right? So with that, I want to thank you very much. And I've come to the end of my 30 minutes here, and I'm gonna, after this, for those that needs to leave, at 4:30, by all means, go ahead and drop off from this call, drop off from the Zoom and all that. But I definitely, I'm going to hang around for the next 5-10 minutes, to kind of engage with you. If there are any questions, any Q&As that you want to kind of put into Facebook or onto chat, I'll be here to answer your question. But before you go, remember to make a point on your calendar for next Tuesday. We're going to come back for talk number 2 in this series here. And the talk 2 is going to be happening on the 16th of June, 2020. And the title is Embracing This New Normal as a Team here. How do we embrace this new normal as a team? So I'm really excited, to be sharing with you the next topic, and I hope to see everybody next Tuesday, 16th of June. So with that, for those that needs to leave, thank you very much. Bye-bye. And for those if there are any questions, I would love to continue to engage you and help you answer those questions and respond and interact with you, right? So I'm going to turn to my team right now. Are there any questions that I should be looking at right now?
So could you repeat what rapid stands for again?
Okay, sure. So let me just get back to So rapid, R-A-P-I-D. R stands for respond, right? How you respond as a leader. A stands for adapt. How do you adapt as a leader? P stands for purpose. Share your purpose, define your purpose for your team. I stands for invest. Invest into long-term gains while managing short-term survivability issues. And last but not least is to deploy. Deploy your newly discovered superheroes of your teams here, right? So R-A-P-I-D. Yep. Thank you. Got it. Are there any more questions? Well, thank you, everybody. Yep, I think Sal said that. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for coming, and thank you very much for saying all the thank yous. I really appreciate that. All right, very cool. All right, I think that's about it. No more questions? All right, cool. So with that, thank you, everybody, for coming. I hope to see everybody 16th of June, next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Bye-bye.
I try this a new way. I'm gonna show you the tricks that I know. I'm getting tired of talking, and I need more of a show right now. It's time that you made your mind up, 'cause lately all it ever does is change. Feels like we're only talking, going round and around, back around. I will fight like no